Good morning. This is the 60 Seconds to Serenity with Gregg Hammond on Thursday, February 1st, 2018. And it is a peaceful and calm morning. So good morning to you. Hey Dan, what's up? I know it's probably freezing cold where you are, and it's pretty cold here. Even though I'm in the mid-Atlantic area, which is an interesting place because of the weather changes a lot. We have deep cold, but not for very long. We have a lot of heat, but not for very long, and it changes. So for 60 Seconds to Serenity this morning, I am going back over some of the things that we've talked about to see, to keep everybody on track, see how things are going. Some of the focus is on how you can help other people, right? Because we rise by helping others, by lifting others, helping others, right? So when you do things, open a door for somebody, kind gesture, saying empowering things to people and telling them how much you care about what they do, how much you appreciate them, doing things for people like I like to make hot soup on a day like today. You can see that this cup is very warm from warm liquid in it, right? Coffee, sometimes tea. I like to on a day like a cold day like we've been having. I like to heat up some water, put it into some instant soup, and take that out for the guys that are picking up all of the trash in the neighborhood as they come through. Just because a lot of people just hustle by them, so in order to let them know that I appreciate them coming through and doing that job, I make those hot soups for them, and I take those hot soups out to them with a fork and a paper towel and napkin thing in a cup, so they can enjoy that, right? I take the time to think through how this is going to work for them so that they can easily consume it, enjoy it, without having to go somewhere to wash their hands to enjoy the meal. So it's different than like a bag of chips or something, or cookies that they would have to put their hands onto. They can consume that just by drinking the hot liquid and using a fork to pull out those noodles. And it's a very easy, quick thing for me to do. I can prepare it in just a few minutes, and I have that ready to go out to them. So doing something, a kind gesture for somebody like that goes a long way. On a cold morning like we have all through winter, it's just a thing that I let those guys, the driver and the guys picking up the trash, they all know that they're appreciated. And that concentric ring, as we've talked about concentric rings before on 60 Seconds to Serenity, that concentric ring goes out, and it is the continuation of the smile, right? And the keep smiling movement. You do a kind gesture for somebody like that, who potentially might not get a lot of thank yous, and that warms them inside, really physically with the soup, but it also, on an emotional level, it lets them know that they're appreciated, and so that carries forward. They smile through their day, and if you happen to go out, maybe you're walking your dog, maybe you're on your morning walk, maybe you're on your way to work, and you see the people picking up the garbage smiling, that can send you think, wow, they're happy, Isn't that an amazing thing to see somebody who is doing that job wearing a smile? We've talked about affirmations of health, right? Your personal affirmations. In the 60 Seconds to Serenity, you're doing the calm, serene breathing, the breathing just that's focused, because you're always breathing, but this is where you're focusing on your breath, coming in and out slowly, like a calm wave on a beach, like the beach that's back there, right? That the waves are just coming in nice and soft and gently. And that's what you're focusing your breath to replicate, right? As you're using your empowering thoughts, right? And this daily affirmation of health is the one that I often hold up for you to check out, and you can screenshot it. Sometimes I know I want to say thank you very much to everybody who gets on here, hops on, and shares this video, because I'm teaching all of this in a way of giving back. It's my way of giving to the global community. I see people in Australia jumping on. I see Carol from Kentucky hopping on there. Good morning, Carol. Thank you so much for all the comments. Carol is always on here, writing in, typing in things about if I recommend a book. She's putting the book title there for everybody so that people don't have to go back. What an amazing thing to do. I see lots of people hopping on and commenting and asking questions, and it's great. If you have questions, ask questions, because usually if you're thinking a question, somebody else is also. And as I'm teaching and doing workshops and working with individual students, a lot of times somebody may say to me something along the lines of, I know this might be a dumb question, and I immediately pause them and say, there's no such thing as a dumb question. You should always be asking questions. One of my favorite teachers back before the turn of the century, in the late 1900s, in 1998, 1999, I spent a long time very focused, week-long chunks of time in the wilderness, at a very remote camp with groups of people, and the teacher, Tom Brown Jr., and he was teaching awareness. We were learning awareness while enjoying the Zen approach to living with nature and not having to battle it, in order to become very effective at tracking and search and rescue. Many of us were doing the search and rescue aspect, and you have to be aware enough to survive in the elements out there. So some people called it wilderness survival, but it was really about wilderness thriving. It was how to live in the environment, and that works no matter where you go. But it was awareness building, building your awareness of things in your immediate environment, and building awareness of you and yourself, paying attention and tracking yourself, writing down and noticing things that you might do. The part of the 60 Seconds to Serenity goal here is to help you focus on you and raising your vibration, and getting in that 60 seconds of time, being able to shift and get into a calm and serene mind with just the 60 seconds through your breathing technique and these empowering statements and thoughts and all of the exercises. So I'm giving you tons of exercises, but back to the reason I brought all the Tom Brown element in there in a wilderness survival is that Tom Brown had a saying, "What is this teaching me? What does this mean?" And he referred to it as the sacred question. And his teacher, a Lipan Apache Indian from down in the south, southwest, Stalking Wolf taught him about asking a question, the sacred question of, what is this teaching me? What does this mean? And so as you're learning about yourself, as you're tracking yourself and tracking your environment and what's going on, seeing the choices that you're making, the more aware you become, the better questions you ask, and the better approach and the more change that you affect in your own personal life, which then spills over into everything that you do. And as you become better, you become a better part of the community, right? And that's how you become the change that you want to see in the world. And that is the good news, right? Your life just got a whole lot easier. Good morning. I see tons of people hopping on here from UK, from down in Florida, from Maryland, from out there in Kentucky, in the UK, and I see, I can't tell what the others are. They're going through fast. So we become the change that we want to see in the world by doing what we do for our own our own self. And the 60 Seconds to Serenity tools that I've been sharing with you since October are the way that you use these tools to bring yourself into a calm, serene mind where you can respond to things going on. And I've talked about this particular very cool coin that says if you react, you lose control, right? And that's a rough side of this coin. And if you spin it around, it says respond and you're in control, right? And so you want to use all of these 60 Seconds to Serenity tools to be able to respond. I have my what I call my gratitude stone, this flat stone that I found when I was going to skip stones across the water, and I found this one, and as I was holding it and thinking about it, I was actually during a hike and into nature, I found this stone, and I was taking the time in nature to think about things, and gratitude comes up because I've made it a habit to shift my mind through gratitude throughout my day. And that's why I am always putting on the gratitude. I'm always showing you this gratitude list, right? A list of 10 things. You start your day with that, and then you reflect on it at the end of the day, right? As you start in the beginning of the day, you're taking that time. You hopefully have adjusted your schedule a little bit so that you're in this routine, right? You're following all these exercises that we've been doing since last year, right? And if you just started and you just hopped into 60 Seconds to Serenity, there are a ton of videos that are all there for free. I'm doing this as my way of giving back to everybody who has an opportunity to watch this. Feel free to share this with anybody you want. My gratitude list, if you're doing these exercises, gratitude list, you've given yourself the time in the morning to write out 10 things that you're grateful for, and then at the end of the day, you're reflecting back on those 10 things, right? So as I was shifting through gratitude, I found this stone and started thinking about how grateful I was for the stone itself, for this unique piece of stone that I could skip across the water. And as I held it, I connected with just the elements of it, right? My awareness of one side was really smooth here, and the other side was very rough. And it reminded me of the message that's on this, that if you react, you lose control, and if you respond, you're in control. This message was what I was thinking as I was holding this stone, and I decided to keep it. And it fits flat right in my hand. And so sometimes when I'm looking over my gratitude list, I'm holding on to this. I put this stone into my hands. And it's just every time that I do that, just the physical action here is tied into thinking about my gratitude list, right? And so that is a habit that I have created, right? It is a habit that as we do these 60 Seconds to Serenity tools, the idea is we're creating these habits. We're putting all of these good habits in, and they are designed specifically based on all the different people that I've studied with and all of the good results I've had in my life. They're designed so you're putting these in, and it's pushing out these unhealthy habits or disempowering statements that may pop in there. And I've talked about that carousel, right? With all the horses on it, the merry-go-round, and the horses are, going up and down like this, right? And you can have tons of disempowering thoughts that you don't even know are in there, where you think about, like, when you see somebody, you're going to say something to them, and you might find that you've thought out, like, how you would like to, you're thinking how I'm going to respond, but if you track that, you'll see that maybe you're going to react, and you've planned these things that you want to say, and they're based on the merry-go-round horses that are in that carousel, right? As that carousel is going around, it's spinning inside of your mind. It is going around, and that's what's programmed in there. Until you change that, there are things that are in there that you didn't even know were placed in there, from things like newspapers and television, TV commercials, movies, all of those things your subconscious mind picks up, and especially when you're very young, the elements around you go right in, and your brain picks it up. I have a young student who plays guitar, and one afternoon when he was doing his guitar lesson, he said something about reading a book, and I thought, let me just place something into his subconscious mind and in his conscious through his conscious mind by asking him a question: are you going to write books? And by placing that into, I asked him twice, right, at 2 different times. Oh, are you going to write books? Do you want to draw pictures and write books? And he said, I could tell that he was thinking about it, and he said, yeah. I said, because you like to read books, so maybe you'd write them too, right? And just the other day, on Tuesday, he came in and he said, can I tell you something? And I said, of course. And he told me, well, I've sold some of my books. And let me hop back to the week before. He told me that he'd written some books, that he'd finished 3 books, and he was telling me that 2 of them were connected together, and one was a separate book. But there were 3 books that he'd already written in this short time. Now, it's been a couple of months since we first started. So I first started asking him the questions, that were putting onto his carousel a very healthy, creative mindset. And he told me he sold books, and I said, well, how did you sell them? He said, I went door to door in my neighborhood, and I knocked on the door, and I just, I said, I have these books that I've written, and I'd like to sell them. Would you buy them? And amazing, at a very young age, this young man believes in his creativity and believes that, he's already started writing, and the creative process, writing the book, and knowing that he can go and ask somebody, would you please buy my book? That's it's fantastic, and it's started into his carousel, that his belief system and the thought process, right? In our carousels, sometimes with the news and everything, there's all these horses on those carousels going up and down, and it's going around and around, and these disempowering or unhealthy things are in there, right? And so the 60 Seconds to Serenity tools that I'm sharing here are to give you the ability to team up, to make the choice. First off, you're making the choice. You are making the choice for yourself to empower yourself by following these little tools here, using these tools. So you follow the breath, you use the breath in and out in a calm, serene, focused way, where, it's very cool that if you have practiced enough times, you start to notice that as you're doing the breath, you're actually thinking a very joyous and happy thought about the air. Like, it's pretty amazing, because that air comes in and then it goes through your whole body, and this very, very amazing body that you're in processes that air and feeds your body with it, right? So that's why you're always breathing. It's something that you're always doing. And the other thing that we talk about, right? These are physical things that we're teaming up with our higher mental faculties to create a better existence, a better life, and a better experience. So the other thing is water, right? Just a little bit of water throughout the day, over and over and over, small amounts, keep you hydrated. Sometimes you do have to drink a whole cup because you may have consumed something else. Like, I enjoy hot tea or coffee, and when I do that, if there's caffeine in there, it will dehydrate and pull the water out. So I need to add in, if I've had 6 ounces of coffee, I need to add in 6 ounces of water just to bring me to 0. And that means that I'm still not hydrated, so I need to add in another 6 just to get me to where I'm adding 6 ounces of water in there. So hydration, the breath, right? If you're using these 60 Seconds to Serenity tools, and you're using the breathing, and you're using all of the affirmations and writing out your gratitude, and we've been doing a non-dominant hand exercise, right? Here's the example, non-dominant hand exercise and the dominant hand, right? I have put them side by side so you can see where it is now, and I will soon pull up something from when I first started non-dominant hand exercise as a 90-day run, to do 90 days of non-dominant hand exercises, where I was writing out a full paragraph and doing it twice a day. And I've added that into what you should do and can do for yourself in 60 Seconds to Serenity. And you think about all that you're doing for yourself brings you into a higher vibration and helps you help yourself, right? And by doing that, you become better for your whole community, for your family, for everybody that you interact with, right? And you're carrying this mindset. So we're using these tools, right, to bring ourselves into that higher vibration, which makes it easier to remove the disempowering thoughts that are going around in the carousel and put in all of these empowering thoughts, right? Here they are. I covered them with that last notebook. I always just show you these, right, because they're easy. I show you that you just write them out on a card. It doesn't have to be anything printed fancy or anything like that. You can, and you want to write these in your notebook, but you can write them on a card where you can take this kind of thing and you can put it up on the wall, right, and stick it somewhere where you see it. It's good to have it in a couple of places, as you write these out. And I know that some people might say, "Wow, I don't know if I will." And maybe it's embarrassing or whatever. It's extremely powerful. It is like gold to do this. And the reason of the 60 Seconds to Serenity, I kind of started to go with the focus on all these other elements, and the point being that you are bringing yourself to a calm and serene mind so that you can respond to things in your day. And I talked about the Serenity is the last chapter in James Allen's As a Man Thinketh, and you're writing it out. I have a hardcover journal where I'm writing out this particular chapter, which takes some time. So you're carving out the time for you, right, for the empowerment, and writing this out, right? And it's usually 2 pages in a notebook. You're going to have front and back page, or 2 pages side by side. Sometimes in a smaller journal, it takes a little bit more, and it depends on your handwriting. But one of the things that you may find is that as you do this and realize that you don't have to be in a hurry, if you carve out some time and eliminate maybe a couple of other things that were taking up time, such as, and I mention this often, the television. You might just take some of that television time if that's something that takes up time, or radio, news, or discussions that are like disempowering or frustrating conversations that are happening on social media. If you find yourself saying, that person really has no clue, and you're going to try to type something to give them a clue, the clue really is that that's very challenging to change somebody's mind and have an influence by typing something there to where they're going to suddenly be enlightened. Usually their actions and what they're doing are attracting in more of that. So you can disengage from that and focus on these exercises. There are so many, I just keep adding them in, right? I mean, it's a garden. I've talked about the garden, Gregg's garden of gratitude. The analogy there, right, is we're churning up the soil. We've got it prepared because we started in October and we've run through all the way through. We're into our very first day of the second month of this new year, and that's just a starting point. It's like getting your gears going there, right? And if you're just getting started, you know how once you get some momentum going there, then you're cruising along, right? Once the wheels are turning, it's easy to stay in motion. It's when you have to stop and start a lot that one, it gives you a really good workout, but it also takes some time in order. Good morning. I see a lot of people hopping on again. Feel free to share this to your page. If you don't have time to hop on, the easiest thing to do is hit the subscribe button to get notifications that I've gone live at 60 Seconds to Serenity's live, and then post it on your wall. That way you can share it with other people, and that way you can come back and review it. You can share it as many times as you want. You can share it to groups. You can you can give this away to everybody. The idea is that our community is becoming stronger through all these very powerful tools, and I'm giving you these tools for creating and planting all these seeds. We've toiled the soil, right? We've created this very nice garden soil where we're planting all of these seeds, all of these things that I keep adding in if you've been doing them along all the way through, fantastic. If you're just getting started, fantastic, because we're only into the very beginning of the second month, and we have a long series of days all the way to the end of the year where all of this amazing growth will happen as we go through the seasons, right? So if you just started now, that's good. And if you tuned in last year, that's good too. It's all good. It's about continuing to work on yourself from whatever your starting point is, and realizing that you're at that starting point. An overall perspective, if we now take a bird's eye view from above, right? And when a bird flying up high has the ability to see things all over, right? And they can circle around and just continually observe, right? Part of observing, part of the 60 seconds to serenity is building your awareness so that you can observe things, and the things that you like, keep those, and the things that you say, ooh, wow, that's a part of me that I didn't realize that was there, and we're working on removing them. So if you're doing the 60 seconds serenity tools, if you're following through on all of these, breathe, the very gentle breath teamed with all of these other things, the good news is that that carousel that's going along in your mind, in your subconscious mind, starts to get, little by little, one of those disempowering horses that are on that merry-go-round going up and down. One of those goes out and a new one is replaced. And so, and the more consistent you are, that whole merry-go-round in your mind, in your subconscious mind, all of those thoughts become very empowering thoughts. And so then when you get into very challenging circumstances and situations, you're able to respond because you're in that calm and serene mind that I keep mentioning as the superpower, that we are all focusing on our superpower, personal superpower of the calm and serene mind and the ability to respond. And our 60 seconds to serenity, being able to get to that serene, calm mind in less time, in just 60 seconds. And the more times that you practice anything, the better you get. And I'm gonna read a little bit about the overall, that bird's eye view of what paradigms are. Some of you have heard me say that. Some of you already know. You've heard the term paradigms, and paradigms are mental programs that have almost exclusive control over your habitual behavior. And almost all of your behavior is habitual, and that's what I'm talking about on the merry-go-round. There's like the behavior that's going on there. It's just a habit in the mind. You don't even realize that all those things are planted in there. And so a paradigm that we leave in control is like an operating system, right? So if you just leave it going on there, then, and your disempowering thoughts are popping up, then that's what's going on all the time, right? So the idea is that we pay attention. As we're building our awareness, a couple things are happening, right? We're using 60 seconds to serenity. We say, we know we can improve, right? Always improving. So we use 60 seconds to serenity. We bring ourselves into a high vibration. When we realize we're down, we do it again. We repeat it whether we don't need to be down low. We don't need to wait for that to happen. We just keep doing it so that we stay here. And then we'll hit less and less. We will hit lower vibrations. We'll continue to stay. So when you drop down, you have a whoa here, and then you're back up, right? So you keep exercising these tools that I'm sharing here. And as you do that, right, this merry-go-round, which is paradigms, right? They're disempowering thoughts that become the paradigms because it controls what you're doing. And those habits are your daily routine. And you have the ability to build your awareness, use these tools that I'm sharing with you to build your awareness so that you can see these paradigms. And also, if you're repeating these and using these tools, you're also removing the disempowering. You're removing disempowering and bringing in the empowering habits, right, and statements, and then your paradigm becomes healthy. Um, Paradigms, they are neutral, meaning that the paradigm doesn't care. The paradigm is just an operating system. It just does what it's supposed to do. It's you can think about it like a computer program, or you can think about it like a machine that does what it's supposed to do. It just does it, right? It's not saying, it's not making the choice. But you, a conscious being with higher faculties of thinking, where your mind is able to think, you can also, using the higher faculties and your awareness, you can track yourself. As you build your awareness, as you use these tools, your awareness comes up, and you can track yourself and start to notice these things and say, hey, I would like to remove my whatever habit or my disempowering thought. And even if you haven't noticed and you're not even sure, if you're using all of these 60 seconds to Serenity tools, then that is happening in an automatic and unconscious way, right? So I am going to hop off of here and send you off for your day, or if you're seeing this later on in the evening, enjoy then, and hopefully that's helping you put your head onto the pillow and finish your day with the list of gratitude, right? And as you finish your day and wind down, going back through all of your gratitude lists, right, is a really nice way just to think about that, so that as you drift off, your mind is filled with all of these very empowering and grateful things, and that ends up being where your mind is as you sleep. And so then when you wake up, a lot of that is right there. You're conscious of the fact and aware of the fact that it's right there. So that is it for today. If you feel like sharing this, please do. Know that I'm doing this to make your life better and help you become better for your family, better for your community, by investing in yourself, investing the time in yourself, and doing these exercises. You have that self-love that goes out as a concentric ring. And so I'm doing this so you can share it with everybody, right? You can post this in groups, you can share it with your friends, you can share it to your own timeline, and then it's there. So peace, love, music. I will see you tomorrow, maybe a later time, and I'm going to shift to the other studio in the Guitar Castle, and so there will be a couple of new elements here. It won't just be the 60 Seconds to Serenity show. It'll be Gregg's Gratitude Garden, which will focus just on the gratitude. It'll be specific to that. Say that 3 times. It will be focused in a little bit different area, but also associated with this. And because it's nice to have something in the afternoon as well. But that whole studio space will be ready, and all of these will be on a YouTube channel. I got to check with my team and see if it's ready there. But as we come into the end of the week, tomorrow maybe I may broadcast later than usual. I'm guessing that I probably will, and then I'll be back on Monday. If I happen to, for some reason, Stephanie, if you happen to miss me tomorrow morning, I will see you on Monday, hopefully. Although I have an adventure going on this weekend, and I'm trying to think that through because I have to check in with my team and find out exactly what's going to happen and how we're doing that. I'm extremely grateful that I have a team of people that do all of these amazing things to help me do what I do, right? People all over that help me achieve all of what I need to achieve and live a life where I don't have to worry about things like trimming trees or cutting grass or all of those things. People help me do all of those things. Those are all the people that I have gratitude on my list a lot of times, because what an amazing thing to live a life where a lot of those tasks are taken care of, and I can focus on helping everybody. Right? All right, peace, love, music. I need to get out of here.